In the hockey game, we're going down to the interview area, to the dressing room. Ed Westfall with his guest.
Thank you, Jegs. My guest between periods, goaltender last night, Billy Smith. Billy, the team obviously not playing the kind of hockey that you or anybody else is happy with. I often wonder, looking at the team, some of the players don't really know how to lose, do they?
Well, no, we got a lot of young players that have come, and each year in the 3 years of winning the cup, that have never been on a losing squad. So it's a big adjustment. They're not used to people calling them down and everything else, and worst of all, they're not used to losing close hockey games. And like you say, you get a referee like we played last night in Buffalo. You get a referee where he gives them 1 penalty and us 4. And the kids just can't understand, what's going on, and they get a little rattled. They say something like me last night to the referee last night. I asked him how come he didn't call a goalie, a penalty on Sauve, who came out of his net and swung. And like, how many times have you ever seen me get a penalty for talking up? And the worst thing is, I didn't even swear at him. I just asked him in that tone. And he'd already give us 1 for slash, and he turns around and he says, "You got 2 minutes on Sportsman." I said, I just looked at him, and then what do you do? When we do get going, we're taking either bad penalties or bad penalties are being called on us, and it's just killing all our momentum.
Billy, that would make me ask you then, we know, and over the years you've been an aggressive goaltender. That's been a little bit of your style, or a lot of it in some cases. And now when things are not going well, is it something that you continue to do out of the reasons that you've done it before, or are you sometimes frustrated too?
Well, really, I hadn't done it up until maybe the last 2 or 3 games, but it's true, like, things aren't going good, and I'm trying to stir something up. I'm trying to get the adrenaline flowing, hoping that, certain guys, you got to cause something. If things aren't going well, you got to start something. And hopefully, if you start something, it gets the team going. Unfortunately, last night, he called everything on us. It was like a one-way hockey game, so and then ended up backfiring, because I think it totally killed us, because we killed penalties great for 2 whole periods, and I just don't think anything was there for the 3rd period.
Billy, it said that when you're on your game, there's no one harder to get the puck by. And the word then says that if Billy Smith is paying too much attention to people around his crease, that he's vulnerable like everybody else. Do you feel that?
There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. If things aren't going right, like second goal last night, hits the goal post, comes out, hits my skate, and goes in. 3rd goal, guy comes in, he made a beautiful goal. There's no way it should have ever went in the net. I cranked him just as he shoots, puts it underneath the crossbar. It just seems to be those bad breaks that are killing us. And then we'll go down to the other end, and we miss wide open nets with nobody even in it. So let's face it, breaks or whatever, we aren't coming up with the big wins when we need them. Like tonight's going to be a very big game that we pretty well have to win. And things just aren't going our way. Certain guys just have to settle down a little bit and, get things going.
You were grabbing shots with your catching mitt last night, and I was commenting about the fact that your concentration was so good at that point through the first 2 periods that it didn't seem that they were going to get another one by you. And then, only on my eyes, maybe, that it seemed that you started to attack a little bit, and they were getting the opportunities before, you were grabbing them, and then all of a sudden, it seemed that you were, for instance, the McCourt goal where he went around the net, it seemed that you were more after him than after the puck. Am I wrong?
Well, what really happened there was we got all confused there. For some reason, I don't know how the play started, but he ended up, and I thought for sure he's going to try to stuff it in the short side. So what I did was I slid to the goal post to make sure he'd have to go over me in order to get it in. And then when I seen he was going behind the net, I tried to get up, and I kicked the feet out from underneath Gordy Lane, because what ended up happening, Gordy had cut him off too. So when Gordy turned to go to the other side of the net, we both collided with each other. So it just took both of us right out of the play. But like I say, when things start going bad, they just fall apart. I blame a lot on the referee, and he got us rattled in the 2nd period. Like I said, I get kicked in the chest. He's standing right there. I stand up and I says, "How come you don't call it? It's a definite kick." I don't know if it was on the instant replay or not, but I stood up and I said, "He kicked me." And he smiles at me and then gives me 10 minutes. I says, "What is it?" And I think that's what more or less destroyed our team last night, because they couldn't believe the calls that were being made. And I'm still waiting to go home to see the instant replay. I might even phone in about it, because it was ridiculous. Let's face it. There was no call for it.
Billy, let me ask you quickly, do you think that the players are now putting the management in the position where they're going to be forced to do something?
It's really tough to say. Let's face it, we are 3-time Stanley Cup winners, and we're not doing what we're supposed to do. You can blame it on whoever you want or whatever you want. But if things don't turn around, I think Torrey's hands are tied. He has to do something. He doesn't want to. He's told us he doesn't want to. But things have got to change. And if they don't change by ourselves, it's got to be changed by him. And it's the type of thing you don't like to see.
Billy, you're always candid and honest, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime, 18.
Billy Smith, now back to you, Jegs.
All right, Eddie, tonight's guest receives from Deutsch Jewelers a Seiko watch, a winning combination of quartz accuracy and ultra-thin styling. Seiko at Deutsch Jewelers, the store for all your jewelry needs, located in Hicksville, Queens, and Manhattan. It's the New York Islanders nothing, the Pittsburgh Penguins nothing at the end of the opening period. They'll return to the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh following these messages.